agus fáilteamh ule the program ile to Meet the Sponsors. Hello and welcome to another of our Meet the Sponsors program. My name is Joyden Locke, and again we're going to take the time to speak to individuals representing the groups who very, very generously sponsor the Trad Awards every year. And as you all know, the Trads would not happen without that sponsorship. We are so appreciative of their help and support, and it's lovely to get the opportunity to talk to them a wee bit more in person, find out more about their organisations and why it's important to them to be involved with the Scots Trad Music Awards. So this week we have two or possibly three guests, depending on the wonders of modern technology. First, we have Alex Ogilvy from the Highland Society of London, and they are yet again sponsoring the Gaelic Singer of the Year Award. Also, Chris Ross from the Gordon Duncan Memorial Trust, who are this year sponsoring the online performance of 2021. And lastly, if technology holds, we'll have Fiona Campbell from the TMSA, who are once again sponsoring the Kitty Finlayson Scots Singer of the Year Award. Good afternoon and welcome all of you. I can at least see you if I can't hear you. I will come and talk to you all individually. Maybe I'll start with you, Alex, as I know that you tried to make it in a couple of weeks ago to talk a wee bit more about the work that you're doing. Again, technology failed us then, but we're thrilled to have you back with us to talk about the Society of London, but also the awards. So for anybody that actually doesn't know much about the Highland Society of London, can you tell us a wee bit more about your history and what sort of projects you're involved with?
Yes. So the Highland Society of London has actually been around for a long time. It was started in 1778. So we're pretty soon coming up to our 250th anniversary. And our current focus is really to support and promote the traditions and culture of the Highlands and Islands. Over the years, we've done numerous works in the community. Sorry, my phone's going off. The focus at the moment, as I said, is really about the arts. It's really about culture and tradition. We raise money. Most of our members are based in London, but have strong connections with the Highlands in one form or another. And we raise money to sponsor awards such as the Gaelic Singer of the Year, And really, our activities are divided into two strands, if you like. One of them is to encourage engagement from the public into these arts and traditions, and we do that through trying to sponsor the most high-profile events that we can in individual areas. So, for us, the Gaelic Singer of the Year is kind of the blue ribbon event, if you like, in that kind of field. And then the other part of our activity is to encourage more people to participate. And so, for example, we also sponsor Gaelic Singing Awards at the Mod for youth, for boys and girls. So we're trying to work at both ends of the spectrum, if you like. That's our main focus.
Yeah, and it's amazing the work you're doing. And I know here at the Scottish Trad Music Awards, we're so appreciative for the continued support that you've given us. Because, I mean, you've been involved now with the Trad Awards for a long time. And I know you say it is one of the premier awards, as it were. But can you tell us a wee bit maybe about some of the other projects you're involved in? Because I know there's been some amazing ones over the years.
Yeah, and again, I think what you said about duration is really important for us, because when we commit to something, we want to do that for a long time, because that's how you really drive engagement with people, whether participating or just enjoying, if you like. But the other main things that we focus on are piping. So we present the gold medals for Pibroch at both the Argyllshire Gathering and the Northern Meeting. But again, so for us, that's the kind of the blue ribbon end. But we also we organise a competition for under 21 pipers as well. So again, we're trying to encourage people to come into the activity as well. We started the Highland Book Prize about 5 years ago, in conjunction with Miniac Moore, the writing centre outside Inverness. And so we've just released the long list for this is the 5th year of the Highland Book Prize. And I'm delighted to say that there are 3 Gaelic language titles on that long list of 12. So that's been really encouraging for us. But again, the flip side of that is that we give a dissertation prize at the UHI. So again, we're trying to balance between those two ends of the spectrum and just get as many people as possible engaged. We work within Highland dancing. We do some stuff around art. We'd like to do more around art, but really, as much as we can, that focuses on culture and tradition in the region.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. You do so much to support across the year. Now, thankfully, this year the Trad Awards are happening in person, although they are still at a distance with a much, much smaller audience of sponsors and also of representation. Are you able to make it up yourself this time?
Sadly not. I had such a good time in Aberdeen a couple of years ago. I managed to photobomb a couple of Pete and Diesel pictures. So that was an absolute pinnacle of my year, I think. But no, sadly not. But one of my fellow trustees, Neil Mulvey, will be at the awards on Saturday, and I shall be glued to BBC ALBA to follow the progress. And I must say, I've been listening to the nominees for the awards, and I mean they're all individually brilliant. But what I love most about it is the scope, the breadth. Yeah. Of the music that's being, well, not just by those 4 nominees, but is available at the moment in Gaelic language. I just think it's fantastic.
No, we're very fortunate, and I think despite lockdown being very difficult for people in so many ways, actually you can see that it hasn't stopped the creativity and it hasn't stopped people being able to still produce amazing works. And everybody that's nominated is a worthy representation of the culture and the heritage themselves. And I'm so glad I don't have to decide a winner, because I think it would be a really, really tough one to try and separate them all.
But I think your point is very relevant because production has continued and the creative process has continued. But even more than that, I think there have been more opportunities for audiences, to get involved. And I mean, we found that with the book prize, we found that with piping. I know commercially it's been really challenging, but from people, from audiences, from the public actually engaging, particularly with things like Gaelic singing and things like that, there've been huge opportunities, and obviously what you guys do has been at the forefront of that. But all through the year, these opportunities are springing up, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I guess the one silver lining of the past 18 months to 2 years is that we've embraced this online platform, and it's been, geography hasn't been limiting people when it comes to gigs and producing music, which in itself is wonderful. If I can turn now to Chris Ross from the Gordon Duncan Memorial Trust. There might be some people out there, I find it hard to believe, but there could be some people that don't know much about the work of the trust. Would you be able to give us just a wee explanation?
Well, unlike Alex's explanation there, our charity is fairly new in that it was set up in 2006, maybe a year or so after we lost Gordon. It was the brainchild, really, of Martin Hughes from Eclipse First, who took Ian aside and said we should try and do something to keep going the legacy of Gordon and his music. And initially, I think it was a huge help to both the family and his friends. But it's grown. It's amazing. I think most of the money has come in from Gordon's own tune books of his music, but we've also been very lucky in having great sponsorship from many and varied folk that love and appreciate his music, which I think is at least as popular now as it ever was.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and not just in the piping world, across all spectrums,
Yeah.
really.
Well, that's actually what I was thinking, because I'm a singer, but yeah, I could name you 5, 10, 15 Gordon Duncan tunes, because these are, oh, they're just so special and something that you hear being played by every generation of musician on every instrument imagined.
That's right. They tend mostly pretty cheery tunes. Aye, happy music. Um, the with lockdown, well, our main aims really when the charity was set up was to encourage youngsters to get proper tuition and learn how to play all musical instruments, all the Scottish traditional music, with a slight bonus to the piping side, but also to encourage composition and to raise the standard. So to even the top players, to help them play to their maximum as well. So it's quite a wide spectrum, really. We let folk put in their applications, and if it can fit within our remit, we encourage it.
I love
Um,
that.
the the last 18 months to 2 years, um, things came to a bit of a halt until folk got used to the technology, really. But we all felt for our professional musicians, our folk musicians, who suddenly had no gigs and no income, And so we set up these performance awards, which wasn't a huge amount, but I think hopefully gave them a wee bit of help when they most needed
Every
it.
little helps.
And some of the performances, some of the videos they sent in were just fabulous. So if you haven't seen them, go onto the website and they're on the gallery. Everything from, I mean, apart from pipes, fiddle, we had bass clarinets, cellos, wonderful.
Oh,
All
I
sorts,
love that.
all playing a Gordon Duncan tune at one point.
And the website is on the bottom of the screen for anybody that wants to visit that. That's www.gordonduncan.co.uk. And again, you've been involved with the Trad Awards for a long time, but this year you are sponsoring one of the newer awards that has come in over the last couple of years, which is the online performance of 2021, which seems to fit so well with the ethos of the work you've been doing through lockdown.
That's right. Yes, no, it fitted in perfectly. We sponsored this award last year as well. Previous to that, we were sponsoring pipe bands, but I'm afraid as yet the poor pipe bands haven't got out there. Hopefully next year.
I know. I mean, I've been saying over the last 18 months, it's funny how pipe bands and Gaelic choirs have become the most dangerous thing on the planet. But that group mentality of expulsion of air, unfortunately, has not made it possible to do anything. But when it does return, we'll just appreciate it that wee bit more.
That's right. That's right. And I think meanwhile, there's been a lot of innovation online, which will remain for all the best reasons. But yes, it would be nice to get back outside and playing.
Definitely.
And I think all the musicians agree, yes, there's nothing quite like the actual playing and playing to an audience.
No, 100%. And if anybody does want to see or find out more about both the nominees and also the sponsors, do remember you can do that on our website, and that is scotstradmusicawards.com. Lots of information on there about everybody that is nominated, links to their websites, a bit about them, what they're nominated for, but also our sponsors. Now I'm going to try to hopefully come and speak to Fiona Campbell now from the TMSA. I can definitely see her. Fiona, can I hear you also?
Hopefully you can. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Yay. Sorry, I changed computer.
Well,
the other computers worked today.
Fiona, if I could stick off the phone.
Yeah, sorry. The phone would just ring just as soon as you could hear me.
The wonder of modern technology and broadcasting from home. Fiona, lovely to have you, though. We're really chuffed that you managed to make it along despite all the technical difficulties. Can you tell us a wee bit about the TMSA and the work that you do?
Yeah, the Traditional Music and Song Association of Scotland, just so you know, there's a longer name there. So, sorry, I'm just going to pass it on to someone else here with me today.
Throw that into the
that phone out of the way. People ring us every so often about inquiries. We've been going since 1966, set up after the first Blairgowrie Folk Festival, with people wanting to sort of keep going with the idea of the event, and it's just bloomed from there. The Blairgowrie Festival, for example, has gone through various places to Kinross, and now is actually the Kirriemuir Festival, which maybe people will know, and they held an afternoon outside recently in September, and also the pub sessions apparently went on quite a long time as well. And then you've got the Keith Festival, Keith branch. We've got a Glasgow branch who've done a sing or sink cruise for a while. They couldn't do it this year, but they did an online one, and also they've been doing sea shanties, so they're very much water-based. And of course Edinburgh and Lothians do things like the Northern Streams. Our national organisation looks at, for example, the event calendar, which we that's the 2021, the last one so far. We're hoping to do another one next year, maybe covering up into 2023, because there's now enough information and events happening either on or offline that hopefully will happen. So we're going to be collating that. We also do the TMSA Young Trad Tour, which is the finalists and winners of the BBC Radio Scotland Young Traditional Musician of the Year Award, which of course features at Celtic Connections. And I think you've been involved with that presenting. I was watching your lovely face with the semi-finals and all that. And also I should say Bruce McGregor as well. He was there as well. And then we also do other things, like we've been doing some sessions programs about encouraging young people. Of course, again with COVID, we have had to put a stop on some of these things, but as things open up again, we're looking forward to doing some more.
I mean, you've been very busy even through lockdown, and I think that has been the challenge, particularly for community-based organisations. It's finding a way to make your work happen, particularly when a lot of the time it's executed by volunteers.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, the bulk. I mean, I am a volunteer myself, but it's about people who have that love and interest of keeping the traditional music song traditions alive, but also passing it on to the next generation. And the festivals. I mean, Keith and Kerry are sort of some of the longest running ones, and we don't want that tradition to break. Keith was successfully able to move online along with a number of other festivals, but other people don't have all the same technological information to hand. And I know there's initiatives from the Traditional Music Forum and working with Creative Scotland and other people to sort of help build that knowledge and confidence, because I think a lot of it's about confidence. But also there was a little bit of Zoom fatigue at one point, but I think the blended idea is starting to bring people back to both on and offline. So
absolutely, the more the merrier, I always think. And again, you're an organisation that have been involved for years with the Trad Awards. Just before we talk about the category itself, the Kitty Finlayson Scots Singer of the Year Awards, can you tell us a wee bit? Who was Kitty?
Kitty is a person who maybe not everyone now has met her in life. Unfortunately, she did pass on, but she was very involved with the Octamuckty Festival and also was a convener of the TMSA. And she very much championed music, song, and felt it was fitting as a way to remember her and putting it as the name on the award. Obviously, Scots is one of the strengths of the TMSA, but of course we do cover other bits of song and music, but I'm aware there's other organisations that also look after various parts of our tradition. So we try and sort of complement and enhance and support where possible. But Kitty was definitely a force of nature, shall we say.
Very inspiring. And actually, when you look at the Scots Singer of the Year category, it's always a really strong one with a wonderful mix of ages and even geographical regions represented. It's so inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, I know people like Siobhan, who's been fortunate to win it a number of times. She did know Kitty. She was one of those people that grew up knowing Kitty. And so I think she finds that kind of special. But you've got people like Iona Fife and many others, Emily. If I start listing the names, I'm going to miss someone out. But they've all been amazing. And also all the nominees, and also it's just to profile along with Gaelic song, the idea that we have a richness to our culture it's not just a mono culture. We've got that diversity, so it's important to highlight that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is the strength of Scotland. We are lucky enough to have English, I guess, but also Scots and Gaelic as our native languages, and that can only add to the richness of our culture. For the TMSA, though, how important was it to be involved with the Trad Awards?
Well, I think it was really important because we're about promoting, presenting and preserving all the traditions, and so that covers all of these things. But it's also, I know some people are not always excited by competitive things. I mean, but we do have some competitions within our festivals, and people use the TMSA rules on competitions, because it's in the end, a competition is often about how you as a person is performing, and the idea is if you get feedback, and it's good to be able to highlight it as a way of there is some very good quality happening here, and it's a way to provide inspiration and also an attention, so people sort of can say there is pinnacles within traditional music, but everyone who takes part is very special, because everyone who takes part is as part of the tradition as soon as they start singing or playing music, dancing along in any way with their feet or hands, shall we say. So I think it's about basically giving that support to the outside world, shall we say, because sometimes traditional music can feel a bit closed in, that it's alive and well, and it's something to be proud of. It's not something to have a cringe about. It's really important. And as you can hear, my accent is not from Scotland. I come from literally the other side of the world, from New Zealand. And I usually say hi, Mum, at this stage, but I don't think she'll be up at the moment. So it's just, I think that feeding the roots is really important for the diaspora, because without feeding those roots, the leaves that we see blossoming around the world of Scottish culture just will wither. So.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we were talking earlier about the benefit of turning everything online in the last 18 months or so, is that actually this global community, which we're living now, has felt so much closer. And you could organise events online and have folk attending from New Zealand or Canada or Europe or here just down the road. And actually, I felt that I know not everybody was loving Zoom and getting fatigued by doing everything online, but actually that's what I loved. I loved being able to still feel like I was in contact with my friends and be part of, whether it was the Gaelic community, the folk community, or the bigger community, but just to feel as if I was still part of something.
Yeah, I was going to say, going back to like the sea shanty days that Glasgow branch have been running, Tom Malone's been doing an amazing job there. The last one he ran was all focusing on women sea shanty singers, and they had an amazing group singing in from America, which I don't know if we'd been able to get them here. So it's just that idea, and I think that's where a lot of people have been saying the successes of making connections with people who may never be able to get to Scotland for one reason or another. Actually, we should still try and reach out to that community, because they're as valuable as the people who do live down the road. And ironically, sometimes it's easier for people down the road to get online, because they can't. The transport system in this country is not always the best.
Yeah, no, indeed. We're very lucky to be part of this community, and also to have people like yourselves who are normally working in a voluntary capacity supporting what we do. And on behalf of Hands Up for Trad and everybody involved in the Trad Music Awards, thank you very much for your continued sponsorship. It is much appreciated, and we all know that we wouldn't be able to do events like the Trad Awards without that support, without working as part of a team. So thank you very much. I would be able to sit here and talk to you all for hours, but I am also keeping an eye on the clock. Alex, if I can just come back to you for 2 seconds. If there is anybody that would like to find out more about the Highland Society of London, maybe they are in London themselves or further afield, where do they find you?
So we are a fairly virtual organisation. I mean, we have a website, but we're all volunteers, and most of us are based in or around London, but with a connection in one form or another to the Highlands. Despite my accent, I grew up just outside Fort William, so for me that's always home. But yeah, through the website is the best way to contact us.
And I think that is highlandsocietylondon.org if you're interested in having a wee nosy, but we'll make sure, it's highlandsocietyoflondon.org. The of is definitely in there. Yeah. So we'll stick that also in the comments if anybody wants to come and have a look at it. Chris, this is your sell for the Gordon Duncan Memorial Trust as well. Where can we find you for more information?
Again, it's www.gordonduncan.co.uk.
And it sounds like there's loads of interesting information on that website to explore.
There's lots, yes, there's contacts, have a look. There's lots of, keep you entertained for ages.
Which is definitely what we need. And last, the Traditional Music and Song Association of Scotland. Where can we find you? Fiona?
Right, www.tmsa.scot, and on there we've got some of the information about the events and what we're about and other people, and also you can buy stuff. And also we've got a couple of more new developments, particularly in the buying area. Maybe you might like to keep an eye on there. We're helping another organisation make sure their publications are still available for sale and download. So, but we're working on that. Yeah.
Well, it does sound like there's lots to be investigated. So if anybody is still feeling like they're stuck at home, you will not be bored if you can check out these 3 websites. Hiat Milatang Uarila. Thank you once again to all 3 of you for being part of us and this broadcast today. Just a wee reminder that the Trad Awards are live this year from Glasgow. And if you are at home, though, and wanting to be involved, they'll be on BBC ALBA from 9 p.m. That actually, as far as I know, goes out worldwide. I think the geo-blocking has been removed. So if you can get BBC ALBA, you can watch it across the globe. But it obviously will also be available live on BBC iPlayer. So no excuse not to be involved with the Trad Awards. Good luck to all the nominees, and I hope we will see you there for a good Horialli, lots of friendship, fun, music and awards. Wam sa Jordan Lop, Fiska Maggie and Drasta.